So good afternoon. Welcome to Hong Kong U. My name is Peter Chow, and I'm Associate Professor of Law at Hong Kong U. I'm also one of the two directors of this Government and Laws program. We apologize for the fact that this room is quite crowded. I think it speaks to the popularity of this program. And for those of you who can't join us here because the room is full, I apologize as well, but I hope at least you will be able to feel this recording and therefore be able to get some of the information you need. I will speak for around 30 minutes before passing the mic to the current students. And I wish to also highlight that in addition to this talk, there will also be a mock lecture on politics at 3 p.m., though at a different room. Okay, so if you are interested in knowing firsthand how being a student doing politics would be like, that would be a great opportunity. So let me begin. Okay. So let me begin with some history. Government and Laws was first taught as an integrated discipline at Hong Kong U in 1924 when George Keaton, the future Dean of Laws and Vice Provost of UCL, became a lecturer of political science and jurisprudence at Hong Kong U. But the double degree did not officially launch until much later. It admitted its first cohort in 1999. Since its launch, the degree has been one of the most selective programs at Hong Kong U, and as can be seen from the admission scores, which I will go through later in my talk. This program is jointly taught by the Department of Politics and Public Administration and the Department of Law. And both of these departments I believe are ranked quite high internationally. So for example, in the recent Times Higher Education World University ranking, the PPA department is ranked 35th in the world, whereas the law department was ranked 29th in the world. The Government and Laws program is usually done as a double degree that takes 5 years. That is to say, you get 2 degrees after 5 years of study. And it's quite a bargain because, well, 1 degree usually takes 4 years. And for this double degree, you get 2 degrees in 5 years. But let me observe that there's some flexibility here. Some of the students may decide to pursue a non-law career. Maybe after coming here, they said, well, I really want to join the public service. I really want to join the government. And they may decide that they do not really need to finish the law degree. For those students, they have an option. They can choose. So for all our students, at the end of the 2nd year, they can choose whether to do the 5-year track. That is to say, they get 2 degrees in 5 years, or just do 4 years and get 1 degree in social sciences. So I think this flexibility is one of the strengths of this program. So let me go through the degree structure. I will largely focus on the 5-year track rather than the 4-year option. The fonts are quite small, but don't worry, okay? The slides and the talk will be uploaded after today. So there will be a chance to look into the details later. So just my purpose here is just to go through the main points. As you can see, Government and Law students will take both law and politics courses every year. So in the first year, the courses are largely fixed. You will not have a lot of options. So for example, for politics, you will take making sense of politics. And for law, you will take contract law. But students will have more choices in their upper year. So for example, in their 5th and the 4th year, well, they will have a large number of law and politics electives. So they can choose amongst the courses that they like. I also wish to observe that our students will be taking the law courses with the LLB students and the politics courses with other PPA students. So the government law students, although they're quite close as a group, when they take the classes, they will take that with other students. So they have a chance to get to know the LLB and the social sciences students. And I think this is one of the good things about the program. So I've mentioned that government and law students would do courses in both PPA, that is to say politics and public administration, and courses in law. So you may ask, what exactly will you be studying when you are taking law or PPA courses? So let me start with PPA courses. The PPA courses are usually divided into 4 specialist streams. First, comparative politics. Courses under this specialization include, for example, Hong Kong politics and economic reform in China. The main idea is that you compare, there are different ways to organize the society and the government structure. And you try to look at how different places do things differently, and therefore think more deeply about what would be ideal in abstract or in particular for Hong Kong. Second, the second mainstream within the Department of Politics and Public Administration would be political theory and ethics. Here, the focus is on examining the normative justifications of our institutions. So for example, well, is democracy justified? Would there be a better alternative? And so Hong Kong is usually regarded to be a capitalist society, but is it the only way to organize our economic structure? Are there other better, more just, but also feasible ways to organize the economy? So these are questions that we study when we do political theory and ethics, and courses within this specialization include democracy and its critics, and capitalism and social justice. By the way, I wish to stress that these are not meant to be exhaustive. We have a lot of courses under each specialization, so I'm just picking 1 or 2 for the purpose of illustration. The third main specialization within PPA is international politics. So you will be doing courses such as international relations of East Asia, international development. So you'll be focusing on matters on a more global scale and the interaction between states and other global NGOs. And the fourth specialization within the PPA department is concerned with public administration. So courses under this specialization include bureaucracy and the public and nonprofit management. Government and law students, if he or she wishes to, can choose to specialize in one of these 4 areas. So for example, I focused on political theory when I was a student here, but it is not compulsory. So some students may prefer to broaden their horizon and take courses on all 4 specializations without focusing on any one of them. And that's completely fine with us. Okay, so a government and law student can focus on one of these 4 streams, but it's not necessary for him or her to do so. As for law courses, they can be broadly classified into 2 types. First of all, there are some what we can call the core law courses. They are the fundamentals, the basic pillars of Hong Kong law that we expect every lawyer would need to know in order to practice in Hong Kong. So they include, for example, the law on contracts and the law on crimes. But besides the core law courses, a government and law student will be able to take a large number of elective law courses. And there's a wide variety of courses. And what we offer differ from year to year, depends on teachers' availability, but there will be a lot of options. So some of the courses that are recently offered include animal law, clinical legal education, that provides an opportunity for students to deal with real cases, and comparative family law, okay? So for details about the elective law courses that we offer, you can consult the law faculty website. And I do wish to add one footnote. So as a government law students, of course, we expect you to be interested in politics. So for the law electives, some of them may wish to focus on the public law electives, but it's not necessary. Our government law students can choose to take electives that are not that closely related to politics, but more concerned with commerce or business in selecting their law electives. So there's no restriction of freedom in what law electives to take. Besides taking courses at Hong Kong U, many government and law students would prefer to broaden their horizons by spending a year or a semester abroad. And there are multiple options for a student should he or she wants to go on exchange. The Hong Kong U runs a university-wide exchange program. The Faculty of Social Sciences and the Law Faculty each has its own exchange program. And I think it is one of the advantages of a double degree student that he can choose from any of this. So for a law student, he can only choose from a university-wide program or the law program. And similarly, for a politics student, he can only choose from a university exchange program or the social sciences exchange program. But a double degree program can choose from the university-wide program, the social sciences exchange program, and the law exchange program. And I do believe that we have very good exchange partners. So our exchange partners, i.e. the institutions that we send our students to for the purpose of exchange, include Cornell in the US, UCL in the UK, and British Columbia and in Canada as examples. Of course, there are a lot more, but I'm just giving you this as some examples. And government and law students would be eligible for a range of scholarships and prizes. First of all, there are some scholarships offered by Hong Kong U, some university-wide scholarships. And there are some scholarships that are offered by the two faculties and by external donors. So for example, in the law faculty, we have a lot of scholarships that are sponsored by the law firms. And if you get one of those scholarships, in addition to getting the money, which is a good thing, you also have a chance to usually the scholarship will include an internship at the relevant law firm, which will provide, I think, a very good experience. And besides the scholarships offered by Hong Kong U and its faculties, our students have in the past been quite successful in obtaining full scholarships to pursue postgraduate studies at places such as Harvard and Oxford. The Government and Laws program prepares its students for both a legal and non-legal career, and our alumni have success in both. So let me give you a few examples of the career choices of our graduates. Some of them joined the governments as administrative officers. Some of them then worked in investment banks. A lot of them became successful lawyers in international law firms and prestigious chambers. And I have included a list, which I stress is not exhaustive, okay? Obviously, I can't remember. So the destinations of all our graduates, so it is by no means a complete list. but I think it would be helpful for you if I include a sample, so you can find some examples of the destinations of our graduates in my slides. So now let me move on to some, or what we may call the more practical matters. First of all, tuition fees. So I'm talking about, well, the 5-year track. So for the first 4 years, you pay the standard Hong Kong U fees, which would be, well, that's just standard for all Hong Kong U programs, which should be 42,100 Hong Kong dollars for local students. For the 5th year, the fee would be higher. I hope you understand, because the government funding structure would be different. But we still think the fee is reasonable. For last year's intake, the fee for last year is set at 85,000 Hong Kong dollars for local students. For non-local students, I think the fee is the same for all 5 years. It would be 182,000 Hong Kong dollars. It seems to be quite high, but actually, I do think that it's a bargain if you compare the ranking of Hong Kong U with US university and the fee charged by Hong Kong U compared with the fee charged by some of the US universities. So now let me talk briefly about the admission scores that we expect from our students. As you can see, let me start with JUPAS. For JUPAS applicants, for last year, the lower quartile was 38. For IB, we are expecting something like 38 out of 42. That is to say, not counting the free optional bonus points. For this year, we understand that it might be a bit different, because it would be the first year where liberal studies would be no longer counted as a subject. So the formula may change a little bit, but I think it would give you a sense of the kind of grades that we are looking for from potential applicants. So let me also say a few words about the Interfield arrangements. I have to state, first of all, the Interfield arrangement is different for this double degree in government and laws and the pure LLB, because the admission process will be handled by 2 different faculties. For the government and laws, the admission was handled by the Faculty of Social Sciences, and for LLB, the admission is handled by the Faculty of Laws. Okay, so don't be too worried if you apply to both programs and you are just asked to interview for one of those programs. And for so now I'm now focusing on the double degree, of course. For JUPAS applicants, generally speaking, we don't interview the JUPAS applicants. So unless you are applying, for example, through the principal nomination scheme, or if you are applying as a sports scholar, okay? So there are some special arrangements for those students, but in general, for most of the JUPAS applicants, we only look at the grades. For non-JUPAS applicants, we will interview the shortlisted applicants. So I guess that's it for now. Before I end my talk, I do wish to show you a few QR codes. So first of all, the Department of Politics and Public Administration has an Instagram website, and you may want to take a look. And I also include the Instagram IG of one of the politics courses, kindly sent to me by Dr. Norbert Chan. So if you wish to take a look what a course IG would be like, that would be a good opportunity. And I also wish to show you the QR code of the Government and Laws Committee. The Government and Laws Committee is the student body of the program. And in addition to organizing social events for the government law students, they also added an academic publication called The Public Jurist. And I'm sure that you will learn more about them very soon or after you join us, okay? So now let me pass the mic to some of our current students for them to share with you the experience of studying here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Carol.
And I'm Masaki.
So both of us are current students of the Government Laws program, and both of us are in year 2 right now. So we hope that through this sharing, we are able to give you a glimpse of what it's like to study the Government Laws program at HKU, and generally what it's like to be a student at HKU. So perhaps we can start with why we chose this program. So personally, I chose this program because I felt that I'm both interested in politics as well as law. So generally speaking, I feel like, as Dr. Chow just mentioned, the program allows us great flexibility in terms of what we can do for politics courses. We get to choose 4 gateways, including public administration, political theory, and international relations, etc. So these flexibility allows us to actually pursue our interests directly. And for the law side, it's rather similar to that of a law student. So by studying this program, we are able to get both the support from the PPA department, which is the Politics and Public Administration department, as well as the law department. And in terms of career, we are also able to reach out to both public sector related jobs, as well as taking up a legal profession. So that is the primary reason why I chose this program. Perhaps Masaki could share some of your.
Okay, I have 2 reasons for choosing this program. The first reason would be applicable to all double degrees relating to law, which is that I view the extra year, the 5th year of our program, is actually an advantage over the traditional LLB program. This is because due to the time constraints, LLB programs have a really tight schedule, and that the law courses are really packed into the 2nd and 3rd years. And therefore, I think that having an extra 5th year gives us more time to distribute our workload and also to prepare ourselves for our future career paths. So that would be my first reason. My second reason, specifically to the G Law program, is that personally, when I chose this program, I was first interested in law. I feel looking at different cases is really interesting because I get to dive into different fact patterns and debates on different issues. But I also find that law at times can be rather restrictive in your worldview, as in sometimes the application of law is really rigid in that there's a certain rule that is laid down and you just apply it, and it's not really that broadening your horizon. Therefore, I think that I need to study something more. And also the double degree programs, I believe that the government and some law programs is most interesting to me, as Carol and Dr. Charles mentioned, that the PPA side of the degree allows us to choose from lots of different disciplines in both theoretical and also practical fields. So that would be my 2 reasons.
Yes, following what you said just now, I agree in terms of how this program allows us to broaden our horizons and to give you a different angle for both sides. When you look at political issues, by studying law, you'll be able to get a legal perspective on different issues, and you might be able to spot, despite in international relations, for instance, you can see humanitarian law. And for law, you would also be able to see it from a public sector or regulatory perspective. So I feel like, apart from it being an interesting point and something that would be able to enrich your knowledge, in terms of career, I feel like gradually more and more different firms, be it law firms or business firms or even in public sector, they would require for you to have different perspectives and angles to look at different matters. And I feel like the government laws program, by its structure as well as what we study and our choice of what we can study, allows us to actually further enrich that aspect. Yeah.
And I think especially regarding careers, for our PPA degree, we have the option to pursue the public administration stream, in which we have courses such as analyzing the policies of Hong Kong right now, and also some of the practical ways we could organize public organizations. And those are sorts of some of the skills and theoretical frameworks that would really be helpful for us if we were to pursue a career in the government field, for example, the administrative officer. And that's why I think that this program is really flexible in our career making process too.
Yes, indeed. Perhaps we can move on to discuss a little bit about the university life of a G Law student. So I guess from what you heard just now, you might be rather afraid that, oh, as a G Law student, it seems like you have a lot to study and a lot to actually go through in that 5 years. But personally, I feel like as a G Law student, it's actually it's a very fulfilling identity and something where I can actually do a lot more. As we have seen from the program structure, we are both supported by the Department of Politics and Public Administration, as well as the Department of Law. So we get to actually reach different types of interesting things. For instance, for social sciences, there's a curriculum called the Social Innovation and Global Citizenship, where you're encouraged to either work in perhaps an NGO or a non-profit organization or a non-profit department of certain firms. And for global citizenship, you'd be able to actually go abroad and actually study elsewhere and to learn more about your identity as a global citizen. So I feel like this is something that is rather unique. And as an LLB student, you will not be able to have such an exposure because this is a requirement for the degree. So personally, I actually took my social innovation internship in the past summer. I worked at the Corporate Social Responsibility department at KPMG. During this experience, I was able to actually get a lot of hands-on experience of what it's like to actually give back to society. And I think it has enlightened me in many different ways, not only in terms of how we should actually, what we should actually do for our society. And I also sparked my interest into perhaps considering non-profit organizations as a future career. So I feel like these are something that are very unique for G Law students. And it's also these elements that make our university life very unique and very different. But at the same time, I feel like it's something that is very enjoyable.
And I guess a concern that a lot of you sitting here might have is that in the secondary school life, your life is probably very rich, as you may join many different interest clubs or student committees, and you might be afraid that with such a sort of demanding program, you might not have the time to do so. But I would I would say you can rest assured, because even with such a demanding program, as long as you organize your time well, you still have plenty of time to do other stuff. For me, personally, I am a university team member for Taekwondo, and I train 2 times a week, and also sometimes go to the gym. And also, apart from that, I also joined a student committee as an executive member, which is called GLC, which is the committee which is related to our program. So perhaps Carol would like to share more on that.
Sure. So GLC, also known as the Government Laws Committee, would be the student body for our program. So it is a non-partisan it's about the non-partisan study of politics and law. So I would say that we have a lot of academic events. For instance, we would have the Global Dialogue Sapientia, where we are able to actually we as students, we are able to actually have conversations with very renowned experts, whether it's experts in law or experts in politics. For instance, we would invite former diplomats or former judges, international court judges, and to have different conversations with them to actually discuss with them on various issues. I feel like these opportunities are also rather unique because it's because of our study of both politics and law, which enables us with the knowledge to do so. So continuing on with what Government Laws Committee does, we would also actually offer a lot of support to our G Laws community, because we also really hope to build a sense of belonging to what we call G lawyers as G Law students. As we mentioned, because our cohort is rather small with less than 50 people per year, it's actually a very good way for us to bond with those within our cohort. And so it also explains why the student body becomes particularly important, because when you just come into university, you might not know a lot of people that are studying the same program, but the student body allows you to actually get in touch through orientation programs, for instance, some induction days, orientation camps. These are a lot of opportunities where you can meet other students studying G Laws. And I've got to say some of my closest friends in a university right now are also those studying G-laws, and I also met them during orientation series. So I feel like it shows how it's also an added benefit, I feel like, when you take this program, because when you take other law programs, for instance, if you take LLB, there's around, I think, 200 people or around that number for the whole cohort. You wouldn't really be able to meet everyone and to get to know everyone. But then by having a double degree program, like taking a lot of the courses together, you're able to actually bond with them particularly well. But at the same time, you can also meet different people, be it from the law faculty or those studying politics or public administration. So I feel like the student and community support of G-Laws is enriched and very strong with the Government Laws and Committee, as well as how our program is designed. Perhaps you could elaborate more on what we do at Government Laws and Committee.
Apart from that, we also organize institution visits. For example, we have done visits to the Courts of Final Appeal. We've done visits to, I believe, the Ombudsman Committee, the Ombudsman Commission, and then we also do firm visits. So we bring students to real life solicitor firms so that we can take a look at the practical atmosphere there and determine if those sort of firms will be suitable for us. Apart from that, we also organize activities for the welfare of students. For example, we have orientation camps when you join the program. So we'll make sure that every freshman knows their way around the university and get the guidance and support they need to start off their university life.
Yes, indeed. Apart from that, I feel like with the Government and Laws program, even though we might not be that long in terms of history compared to the LLB degree, it's exactly because of that which makes our bonds even closer. Because I feel like the sense of belonging as a G lawyer is rather strong, and for us to actually be able to communicate with alumni that are not that old compared to us, like the first batch of G-Laws students are from 1999. So you can actually imagine how we are still able to actually get in touch with a lot of them. And with what we have seen just now from the presentation, that a lot of them take up different careers, be it from like the public sector, the legal profession, and we also have some that took rather interesting careers. For instance, I know that one of our alumni became a pilot after graduating. Some of them decided to pursue a career in singing. So I feel like there are a lot of different options, and I feel like that is exactly why this program is particularly interesting, because you're not really fixed to anything. Like the possibilities are truly endless, and I feel like that is also something that is very important in university. Apart from the fact that you're studying a degree, university is also like a safe zone for you to try different things out, and I think the Government Laws program definitely aligns with that value. Yes, and let me see. Perhaps we can talk about a little more about perhaps how you take lessons.
Or actually, I think that our endless blabbering may be boring most of you here. So let us move on to our Q&A session where you can ask us whatever you might be interested in.